Hey everyone, welcome to Live Trading Thursday. It is October 6th today. I'm excited to be back with you guys. Last week, Jeffrey was filling in. Thank you so much, Jeffrey, for doing that. I had a schedule change that did not allow me to attend last week, but I'm glad to be back with you today, and I'm looking at the market here, and there's going to be some fun stuff to talk about. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. There we go. Now you're seeing it. Yeah, so last time I was with you was on this candlestick right in here. And, I was thinking maybe we do go lower, and we did go lower. We found this previous support level right here. We hung out there for a few days, and then we even made a lower low. I believe that was Friday. Yep, that was Friday right there. So made a lower low. Honestly, on a day like that, where you make a lower low with the there's no wick at the bottom, you would think that it would continue to go down after that. But we moved right back up, did a little rally here, but have run now into the 20-day as resistance in this case. And so we're kind of stuck here between the 20-day and the 10-day as well. So interesting things happening there. We'll talk more about that in a second. But guys, I want you to go ahead and get any tickers that you would like to look at, any questions you have, go ahead and get that in the comment box. Both Facebook and YouTube should have that for you there. We'll be looking at several different potential trades or historical trades, or even trades that you might be in right now. But we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to look at those with you. Keep in mind that all these examples that we're going to be looking at this live trading session should be viewed for educational purposes only and not taken as trading or investment advice. So guys, again, here we are. We're looking at this interesting market here today, even just sitting on kind of a doji candle, right? It's like a little pennant wedge that has happened right now. And we're stuck between the 5. I'm sorry, I keep saying the 5. We're stuck between the 10 and the 20 EMA. And what's going to happen? Well, you do have this downtrending resistance line here that has been lining up pretty well. Little anomaly there. But, I wouldn't be surprised if we break down and continue further down and make a lower low eventually again. Probably not today. We're not going to make a lower low today. It would require a crazy day for that. But, eventually we may very well continue to move down. But it is still possible. We could definitely break this downtrending resistance line and start rallying back up, maybe even as high as the 200 simple. So anything could happen. It'll be interesting to see which direction that the market decides to go here. Also should mention that earnings season is going to be starting up next week. So frankly, that's going to make several potential trades out there difficult, right? If we like to do a credit spread, for example, say a month out, that may not be possible on many of these trades that we'd be looking at. So just things to keep in mind there. Hey, Janet, I see you out there joining us from Oklahoma today. I'm glad that you're on. Thanks for being on today. If you got any tickers you'd like to look at, this is live trading, just like the live trading hour that we do. But we're going to do a smaller segment here, about 15, 20 minutes of just looking at some trades. And love for you guys to bring those forward. Jeffrey, howdy back to you as well, sir. Glad that you are on as well. All right, guys. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and get it started off, just looking at a couple things here, right? So in the past, as far as bullish setups were going, it was energy. That was like, okay, we've got some things to look at in energy. But I was looking at this earlier. You can see, let's look at Devon. Energy had a pretty steep drop off and then a really nice rally back. But is Devon Energy, are they at a buy point right now? This is not a good buy point. This has moved up quite a bit. We would want to see it come back and bounce maybe off an EMA or a trend line. It's also possible that maybe energy stocks start rolling. Let's look at another one real quick here. Marathon Oil. Marathon Oil looked like it might have been an uptrend. Pretty big move down again. You see this kind of movement happen here, and you kind of wonder, are we in for another pretty steep drop-off like what we had back here in June? So, but they bounced back very strongly again. That's Marathon. look at one more here, and Oxy as well. And just not at a good buy point right now. So definitely can still keep an eye on energy stocks. But while those have been some good bullish trading, even in this bear market, right now is not a good time to get into those guys, as they're pretty hot, but just they need a pullback before we can really get a good buy point going. All right, Jody, welcome. Thanks for being on today. Jody wants to look at LNG. Let's take a look and see what we can find with LNG. It looks like here another energy stock. So same kind of deal here. Made a nice run up. This one's kind of interesting because I don't see the big drop off that many other energy stocks had, but also it didn't have a crazy run up. So as far as energy stocks goes, this one seems to be a little more docile, which can be good if volatility, sometimes does cause problems. But looking here at LNG, and again, as far as entering into a bullish position, probably not going to be a good setup. But what can we do with LNG? Let's take a look maybe at a credit spread. We've got kind of this 1, 2, 3 tops here, right? And this is not the buy point or the day to do this right now, but what if LNG starts to move down again? And we're looking at this and like, okay, we are seeing some resistance. Whoops, that line didn't take. There we go. We're seeing some potential resistance around this level right here. If it starts to move down, in the next few days, could we put on a credit spread? Could we put on a bear call credit spread? Maybe your short strike at, say, 180. It's even higher than the peak right there on that day. Maybe a 180 by 185. And keep in mind, earnings is going to be right here on November 3rd. So we're actually going to go in and see if we can create this. And let me make sure I'm getting in. There we go. I'm in the paper trading account that I always use to put on our practice trades in the system here. So let me go ahead. We're going to go to the options page right here. Right off the bat, I'm looking at liquidity. And I like that it's well in the green. This is just a nice big overview as what is, am I going to be looking at some pretty good open interest? Are the bid-ask spreads going to be fair? So I'm already liking the fact that the liquidity is good as well. Remember that the earnings was, I believe it was November 3rd. So we wouldn't want to choose November 18th expiration because that's beyond earnings and the market makers will mess with the premiums on those option legs. So we would be stuck with October 21st as our expiration since they don't offer weeklies for this particular ticker. Now, that's not terrible, right? I mean, 21st, that's a couple weeks out. We just need to keep in mind it's going to be a bit of a shorter trade. And so since we're selling less time, we're probably going to bring in less credit. But let's see if we can still make this work. So remember, our short strike we were considering maybe the 180. Open interest right here at 180 is actually fantastic. The bid-ask spread, 30-cent bid-ask spread. So, looking at about 9 to 10% spread difference. So not awesome, but maybe not horrible, especially if you can get in the spread as well. So we'll sell that one and we'll buy that one. You can see on our risk graph right here, we're looking at potential $110 that could be made off of $390 risked. See that right there on this risk graph? So that's pretty good. We're looking at just over 25% max ROI potential. So a lot of these numbers are already looking pretty good here. Again, the bid-ask spread on this long leg here, not great, but it's about 10%. So for the purposes of this example here, we're going to work with it here. Hey, Mark, I see you on there. Glad that you made it on. Thank you. Love that. So what do we do now? We've got our legs selected. We've double checked. We are in our paper trading account here. We're going to hit the trade button right up there. And this is going to bring up our order ticket. And here we can kind of choose to get in the price, if we want more of the mid price and be more, what's the word? Like if we want to negotiate that, we absolutely can do that. But of course, there's less chance that the market maker is going to accept that. For right now, just so we can get in the trade, I'm going to just go ahead and go with a natural price. I don't really want to do a market order on these spreads, but I'd like to just go ahead and do the natural price. So again, we're selling the 180, buying the 185 for a bear call credit spread here. We're going to review that. Looks good. We're in the virtual account, and we're going to submit that. All right. Coming here now to the order status. Boom, executed right off the bat. If this says live on the status, that just means that the market maker has received your order. That's all that means. It doesn't mean that the trade has gone through. It can kind of be a little deceptive, but you want the magic word executed. That means that this contract, this trade has been executed. You are in the trade, and you can actually double check that by going to the positions tab and opening that up here. You can see I've got several different paper trades going on here right now as well. And you can see LNG right in here. Must have a paper trade I forgot about. I should have managed that one. Anyways, you can ignore that. LNG right here, we are in that position. Another way you can see that as well, you come here to the chart and you will see our, there you go. You can see the short strike, and right up here at the top, our long strike as well. You can draw a box like that if you'd like. Now that we know the 21st is our expiration, we can do that. That way I can kind of see when is that thing expiring. Save that. There you go. So this is something that could be considered. But again, I wouldn't do this quite yet. I just want to show you the potential trade and show you the buttons and the process of how we go through this. But I would want to see this thing turn around. Whenever we get into a bearish position, we're still looking for, a good buy point, right? A drop off of resistance as it's coming down. Here, we're at resistance. It hasn't started to move down yet. So we want to hold off. But if in a couple days it starts to move down, a trade like this could be viable. So, all right, Jody, that was a great one to look at. Thank you so much for that. All right, Jeffrey's asking, do you think the madness at GameStop is done with for good? Let's take a look at GameStop. I was out of town a little bit, so I was a little out of touch with what was going on. I don't know if there was any recent madness. Wow, they dropped more than I remember. So here's the madness initially, right? And it went up a couple times. There was some real crazy trade. Oh, okay. I see what's going on. They must have split. Yep, there it is. They did a 4-for-1 split back in 2022 because I remember the top of this madness was $700 plus. And I didn't remember that they had dropped all the way down to $26. I thought they were still in the hundreds. But with that 4-to-1 split right there that happened in July, that would make sense. So, I mean, Jeffrey, you're asking me, do I think that the madness is done? That madness, I mean, it was madness because you couldn't predict that, right? There was some crazy stuff going on, a couple of years ago with GameStop and the whole Reddit articles and people trying to beat the professionals and we're winning for a while there. So there absolutely was a lot of madness. There's just absolutely no way that I could predict, though, if it's done for good. Who knows? You might have a group try and do another little madness rally again. And it wasn't just GameStop. I'm blanking on it now, but there were a couple other stocks that were in that same boat. AMC, I think, was one of them. And there was one or two others that also did that as well. But, as far as predicting the madness, good luck. Yep, there it is, Jeffrey, AMC. Probably won't go back to 700. Well, who knows? I mean, a couple of years ago it was down at like $26, $30 a share. And then a few weeks later it's up 700 plus. So it just goes to show that in the market, anything can happen and you got to be ready for anything. We can't control the market. All right. Hear me out. This is one to write down. We can't control the market. Only thing we can control is ourselves. And in a way, that's where our edge is, because we can't control the market. We can control ourselves though. So we can look and see what is going on, and through our trading plan and through practice, we know how we are going to react. That's trading. That's how it works right there. So exactly right. We dance with the market, but we know what our steps are going to be based off of what the market is going to do. We're in a bad position when the market is doing things and we are trying to trade to control the market, or we want this certain outcome, and so we're trying to force it to happen. That's when we get into trouble. But when the market is doing what it's doing and we're okay with it because we've already pre-planned what our dance steps are going to be, we already pre-planned what our actions are going to be based off of whatever happens in the market, then we just follow through with what our plan is, because we control ourselves. That's all we can control. And that should also take a lot of weight off of our shoulders as well. My goodness, if it was my job to control the market, that would be crazy. All I have to do is control myself. So anyway, that was a really good little lesson in there as well. So thanks for bringing up those tickers and those questions. I always love the good participation that we have on these as well. Guys, we talked about this credit spread here on LNG, and that was a really good one to look at. I'm glad we got to walk slowly through that paper trade as well. Want to let you guys know, if you haven't taken our Step 3 course yet, let me grab this here. If you haven't taken our Step 3 course yet, we are offering the Step 3 course October 21st and 22nd. That's going to be in 2 weekends from now. And you can sign up for that at events@tradeway.com. I just put that in the little chat box there. So events@tradeway.com is going to allow you to register for that Step 3 if you have access. If you don't have access to it yet, then we can certainly provide you information on how you can gain access. But credit spreads, as you see here, they offer a lot of opportunities to maybe get into a trade when the buy point isn't that great. They offer some higher probabilities while still being able to get some potentially good ROIs as well. And you can still trade into the bear side too, which is really good in this bear market that we are in. So that's going to wrap it up for this live Trading Thursday. Thank you guys for being on. I'm looking forward to being on with you next week already. So we will see you then. Thanks, guys.